to have you with us on this Wednesday edition of Ed Schultz News and Commentary at WeGotEd.com, RawStory.com, and RingOfFireRadio.com. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the download. Thanks for the listen. All of those things as this continues to grow. We now have an equal audience here doing this than we had on the cable show, which I find utterly amazing, seeing we've only been doing it for a couple of months. Great to have you with us. Frequent our sponsors at Communication Workers of America, Alliance for American Manufacturing, BioGreen Clean, and the iSave team. As Congress goes back to work this week, obviously the Iran nuclear deal is going to be big in the halls of Congress and possibly a vote. And the wrangling continues. The PR campaign has been going on for over a month against this deal. And a man who is very connected to it, who knows it, who lives it, who worked in naval intelligence for some 30 years, retired Admiral Joe Sestak, former congressman who is now running for the United States Senate, and he joins us here on Ed Schultz News and Commentary. Joe, good to have you back with us.
Good to be with you, Ed. Thanks.
Colin Powell came out over the weekend and supported this. I want your reaction to this.
It's a pretty good deal. Now, I know that there are objections to it, but here's why I think it's a good deal. One of the great concerns that the opposition has that we're leaving open a lane for the Iranians to go back to creating a nuclear weapon in 10 or 15 years. But we're forgetting the reality that they have been on a superhighway for the last 10 years to create a nuclear weapon or a nuclear weapons program with no speed limit. And in the last 10 years, they've gone from 136 centrifuges up to something like 19,000 centrifuges. This agreement will bring them down to 5,000 centrifuges. All of these will be under IAEA supervision, and I think this is a good outcome.
What do you think, Joe?
Well, he's right. 30 days from today, Ed, Iran can have enough bomb-grade material for a nuclear weapon. In 1 month from today, as a minimum, this accord sets them back over a year, and for as much as 10 to 15 years, but at least a year. And those centrifuges that the general spoke about, look, they're going to be put into storage. And when they're put into storage, they decay. So actually, these centrifuges are probably not even going to be as rapidly available as if they weren't put into storage. So I'm for this accord, if for no other reason, that it actually stops this 30-day window that the Iranians have today from being able to have material for a nuclear weapon. That's good for our security and Israel.
Well, everybody starts these interviews saying that, well, we could have got a better deal. I mean, you could say that about anything, whether you're buying a car, a home, or whatnot. I mean, the fact is that this puts them on a different pace, and that, of course, is what former Secretary of State Colin Powell was talking about. But moving forward, what do you think the United States has to do and the P5+1 has to do to make sure that this continues on? I mean, verification is huge, no doubt.
There's not a question about it. Ronald Reagan said it well, but not well enough. He said, trust but verify. I say verify before you trust. Look, Ed, I was in the Persian Gulf, Command and Carrier Battle Group. The Iranian Navy, their normal Iranian Navy, would go past us, and they were very professional. They'd let us know if they were coming close aboard, abroad, down our starboard side. Those Iranian Revolutionary Guards come out in cigarette boats. They'd come steaming towards us. I had 2 helicopters up, ready to take them down, either by the wind from their propeller helicopter blades or by machine guns on board, and they turn away at the last minute. No, I don't trust them. But look, now we can have 150 people that are assigned to go into these facilities. Now we can go into places we've never been able to go before, and we can leave advanced technology there if we're not there to monitor everything. Could they cheat? Yeah, they may. But so did the Soviet Union against Ronald Reagan and others, and so we bounded them back in the box. But at the end of the day, the military option is still on the table. And people who don't understand that 30 days from today, if they go and get this bomb-grade material, the strikes that we will have to do will be wide in breadth, deep in scope, and the aftermath will make Iraq look like a cakewalk.
Well, that's really a scary scenario, that if we have to go down that road, because it would be a much heavier lift, considering the terrain and the embedded material underground facilities that the Iranians have. Is that correct?
That is correct. One of the facilities, Fordo, is under 300 feet of rock. People think we have the super-duper magic ability just to destroy it. Look, I've done the study with about 20 other retired admirals, generals, and national defense officials a few years ago. At most, we could stop their nuclear pursuit of a nuclear capability for 4 years. Militaries can stop a problem, Ed. We just can't fix it. So if we have a problem, potentially fix this problem with this accord, why are we just going to stop it for 4 years till we see if we can fix it all the way?
Joe, as a candidate and as a public servant, you served in the Congress, Admiral, 30 years naval experience, worked in Intel, and now running for Senate. How do you navigate through the rhetoric that is surfacing, that death to America, death to Israel, these constant threats that is this a radical group of Iranians? Does this give us a true picture of their society, or is this a fragmentation, a radical group that just seems to get a lot of publicity when they open their mouth? Your thoughts on all this?
Well, I think 3 quick points. First off, those who are speaking out loud, as sometimes you kind of see in our own country, are pretty radical. That doesn't represent the mainstream, but they're in charge right now out there, some elements of them. But then I go to the second point, and I recognize that. I'll never forget Khrushchev of the Soviet Union coming to the United Nations and taking his shoe and pounding the podium in New York City and saying, "We will bury you." And yet, there's no more Soviet Union, because we had sane heads from Kennedy to Reagan that understood, hey, cut through the rhetoric. What's in the interest of America? And third, as a candidate, what I do is like what I'm going to Villanova University, holding a public town hall, just like I did on the healthcare debate. Man, I've written op-eds. I've gone on Fox and MSNBC to talk about this, just to bring sanity to the discussion. And you know why, Ed? We got a deficit in the United States Senate today, and I would argue maybe on both parties, quite frankly, of those that understand the nexus between foreign policy and military policy. I think we have to bring people back to the Senate that understand that military options on the table, but it needs to be on the back of the table to give diplomacy, like Reagan did, a chance to work.
Your thoughts on Senator Tom Cotton, who seems to be trying to drive some kind of foreign policy measure here outside the lines of the administration and the Logan Act, for that matter. What's your reaction to that?
My reaction is the Constitution makes the president, as the first and foremost office, the presidency, responsible for the security of America. And a harbinger of what you're seeing today was when those 47 Republican senators sent a letter to the Ayatollah and said, disregard our presidency, not just President Obama, but the presidency, our institution upon which our Constitution is placed the security of America first and foremost. Look, in the old days, partisanship stopped at the shoreline. Today, it's unfortunate it's gone abroad.
Yeah. Joe Sestak, how's your race going in Pennsylvania? How do you feel about it?
I feel very good. Look, Ed, it's kind of gotten to the days that you and I would talk a few years ago as I ran against Senator Specter. Again, we've got the establishment in Washington, D.C., went through a number of candidates that they felt I was a little too independent, like I am today, coming out there today on saying this is what America needs. There's no cautiousness about it for working families or for security of America. And so they sought out another opponent to get in against me, but that's okay. When I ran in that parade where Vice President Biden was, who I really like, out there in Pittsburgh yesterday, I was back there with labor, back there with the working family, shaking every hand, not at the front of the parade. It's all about people. It's not about the establishment. And I think that's why we did so well last time.
Joe Sestak, always great to visit. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it, and we'll do it again.
Thanks, Ed. Have a great day.
You bet. Great resource to Ed Schultz News and Commentary, former Admiral Joe Sestak running for the Senate in Pennsylvania.